December 8, 2019. 3:14 a.m. Chicago Midway International Airport. Private jet N344 ST touches down after a 47-minute flight from Van Nuys, California. Inside, Jared Higgins, 21 years old, known to millions as Juice WRLD. Outside, federal agents and Chicago police, waiting. 70 minutes later, he would be pronounced dead at Christ Medical Center in Oak Lawn. What happened in those 70 minutes remains one of the most scrutinized timelines in modern music history. But the question no one asks is this: why was the jet flagged before it even landed? The official report says drugs. The toxicology says pills. But the sequence of events, the phone call, the search, the decision made in those final moments, tells a story that's never been fully reconstructed. Until now. Jared Anthony Higgins was born December 2, 1998, in Chicago, a city that shaped him and a city he tried to escape. Raised in the south suburbs, primarily Homewood, he grew up in a single-parent household. His mother, Carmela Wallace, worked long hours. His father struggled with absence and addiction. Jared found refuge in music. By middle school, he was freestyling for hours, recording on his phone, teaching himself piano, drums, guitar. He listened to everything: rock, emo, rap, pop-punk, and refused to choose. That refusal became his identity. In 2015, he started uploading tracks to SoundCloud under the name Juice Kid. The name changed to Juice WRLD in 2017, a tribute to the late rapper Juice, combined with a promise to take over the world. His breakout came fast. Lucid Dreams, released in May 2018, sampled Sting's Shape of My Heart and became a global phenomenon. By the time he turned 20, he had a record deal with Interscope, a #1 album, and features with Travis Scott, Ellie Goulding, and BTS. He freestyle rapped for over an hour straight on Tim Westwood's show. He recorded 3,000 unreleased songs. He sang about heartbreak, depression, pills, and death with a rawness that felt prophetic. But Jared wasn't just talented, he was troubled. He spoke openly about his addiction to prescription painkillers, particularly Percocet. He rapped about lean, Xanax, and the numbness they provided. In interviews, he admitted he started using codeine and promethazine at 14. By the time he was famous, his dependency was severe. Friends saw it. His girlfriend, Alilati, saw it. His management saw it. They tried interventions. He promised change. But addiction isn't a switch. It's a cycle. And by late 2019, that cycle was accelerating. What made Juice WRLD different was his transparency. He didn't glorify the lifestyle, he documented the cost. "I'll be fine," he'd say in interviews. Then he'd release a song like Legends, recorded days after the deaths of Lil Peep and XXXTentacion, where he rapped, "What's the 27 Club? We ain't making it past 21. He turned 21 on December 2, 2019. 6 days later, he was gone. The week before his death, Juice WRLD was in Los Angeles. He had just celebrated his 21st birthday. Ally threw him a party. He seemed happy, at least in the photos. Behind the scenes, there were signs. He complained of stomach pain. He seemed anxious. On December 7th, he boarded a private jet from Van Nuys to Chicago. The trip was supposed to be brief, a quick stop before continuing his tour. He traveled with a small entourage: Ally, his security, his management, and close friends. The jet was stocked with luggage, equipment, and, according to later reports, significant quantities of drugs. What wasn't public at the time, the FBI had been tipped off. Not by a rival, not by an anonymous call, but by routine monitoring. Someone had flagged the flight. Whether it was the jet's history, the passenger manifest, or prior intelligence is still unclear. But before Juice WRLD's plane even left California airspace, federal agents in Chicago knew it was coming. When the jet landed at 3:14 a.m., they were already positioned on the tarmac. Chicago police and FBI agents waited. The passengers had no idea. The plane doors opened at approximately 3:18 a.m. Agents boarded immediately. They identified themselves. They announced they had a warrant to search the aircraft. Juice WRLD was awake. He was standing near the rear of the cabin. According to witnesses, he appeared nervous but not panicked. The search began. Luggage was opened. Bags were inspected. Within minutes, agents discovered multiple vacuum-sealed bags of marijuana, 70 pounds in total. They found bottles of codeine. They found guns, 3 handmade firearms, later described as ghost guns with no serial numbers. 2 members of Juice WRLD's security team were arrested on the spot. Then something changed. According to statements given later, Juice WRLD began acting erratically. His breathing became rapid. He started pacing. A pilot reported seeing him ingest multiple pills. Several witnesses would later describe it as a large quantity. It's believed he swallowed them to avoid possession charges. But the exact number, the type of pills, and the precise moment of ingestion were never definitively confirmed. What is certain, within minutes, he began seizing. Emergency services were called at 3:42 a.m. Paramedics arrived at 3:47 a.m. Juice WRLD was convulsant, bleeding from the mouth. He was administered 2 doses of Narcan, a medication used to reverse opioid overdoses. It had no effect. He was rushed to Christ Medical Center in Oak Lawn, approximately 6 miles from the airport. At 4:19 a.m., he was pronounced dead. Cause of death, pending toxicology, unknown. The toxicology report, released weeks later, confirmed what many suspected. Juice WRLD died from an overdose of oxycodone and codeine. The levels in his system were described as toxic. But the report also revealed something else. He had ingested the pills shortly before his death, likely in those final minutes on the plane. Whether it was intentional or a desperate attempt to hide evidence, no one will ever know. What we do know is this: he was 21 years old. He had just released his 2nd studio album. And he died on a private jet tarmac, surrounded by agents, friends, and decisions made in seconds that couldn't be undone. The news broke within hours. Social media exploded. Tributes poured in from Drake, Lil Uzi Vert, Offset, Chance the Rapper, Ellie Goulding. Fans gathered outside the hospital. His mother released a statement: "We loved Jared with all of our hearts and cannot believe our time with him has been cut short." Ali Ladi, devastated, posted a video saying, "He loved every single person that he helped on this earth." The music industry mourned publicly. But privately, questions began to circulate. Why was the jet searched? Who tipped off the FBI? Why did Juice ingest the pills? In the months that followed, Juice WRLD's label released posthumous music. Legends Never Die, his 3rd studio album, debuted at #1 in 2020. It broke streaming records. His unreleased catalog became a vault of grief and genius. His mother founded the Live Free 999 Foundation to support young people struggling with addiction and mental health. Ali became an advocate for mental health awareness. But none of it brought him back. Juice WRLD's death became a symbol, not just of the opioid crisis or the pressures of fame, but of a generation self-medicating through trauma. He wasn't the first rapper to die young. He wasn't the first to overdose. But he was the one who told you it was coming. He rapped about it. He warned his fans. And still, he couldn't escape it. His music remains a time capsule of pain, honesty, and the desperate hope that maybe, if you're honest enough, you can survive what's killing you. He didn't. But his voice still does. Some stories end. Legends don't. This is CLS.